Hey there and welcome. If you've ever typed a question into an AI chatbot, guess what? You're already a prompt engineer. But there's a huge difference between just using AI and really directing it. And that difference? It all comes down to speaking its language. So that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to demystify the essential vocabulary you absolutely need to know. Now, all the key terms we're diving into today, they're pulled directly from a really fantastic free tutorial. It's called Prompt Engineering Strategies, Getting the Results You Want While Protecting Privacy and Sensitive Information. And it's from Virtualization Options LLC. We're basically going to unpack the core concepts from that guide to give you a really solid footing. All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to tackle this in 4 parts. First up, the fundamentals. Then we'll get into controlling AI behavior. After that, some pro-level prompting techniques. And we'll wrap up with what is honestly the most important part for anyone in a professional setting, the language of privacy. Sound good? Let's jump in. Okay, part 1, the fundamentals. Look, you can't build a house without a solid foundation, right? So let's make sure we have these core ideas down cold. First, let's zoom out. You hear the term AI, or artificial intelligence, everywhere. That's the huge umbrella term for making machines smart. But for what we're doing, we're almost always talking to something more specific, a large language model, or LLM. Think of the LLM as the brain we're talking to. It's not really thinking, though. It's more like a super-powered prediction machine that's been fed pretty much the entire internet. Its whole job is just to guess the next best word in a sentence. It's a pattern matcher, not a philosopher. So, how do we get this brain to do what we want? Well, that's where the prompt comes in. And a prompt is way more than just a question, it's your entire set of instructions. But here's the secret sauce. A great prompt needs context. Context is all that background information, the who, what, and why, that helps the AI go from giving you a generic, useless answer to something that's actually spot on. This next one is pretty cool. How does the AI actually read your prompt? It doesn't see words and sentences the way we do. It sees tokens. A token is basically a piece of text. It could be a whole word, like rocket, or just a part of a word, like ing. The Lego bricks analogy is perfect here. The AI breaks down all of our language into these tiny little bricks, and then it uses those same bricks to build its answer back to us. Okay, fundamentals are down. Now for the really fun part, controlling AI behavior. This is all about getting inside the AI's mindset, so to speak, and understanding its quirks, and more importantly, its flaws. All right, you need to listen up because this is probably the single most important term to understand, hallucination. This is when the AI just makes stuff up. And the scary part is, it says it with complete confidence. It'll give you a fact or a quote that sounds perfectly plausible, but it's pure fiction. The AI has no idea it's lying to you. It's just following a language pattern that went completely off the rails. So what does a hallucination actually look like in your day-to-day work? Well, it could be the AI inventing sales figures for that report you're writing, or maybe it cites a brilliant-sounding academic paper that doesn't exist. It might even create a fake company policy out of thin air. This is a huge deal, and it's why you have to, fact-check anything important that an AI gives you. Okay, so how can we control the AI's output? One of the coolest tools you have is temperature. Seriously, just picture a creativity dial. That's what temperature is. It's a setting that lets you fine-tune how predictable or how wild and random you want the AI's answer to be. So when do you use this dial? It's simple. If you need something factual, straightforward, and consistent, say you're summarizing meeting notes, you crank that temperature way down low. You want a deterministic, no-surprises answer. But if you're trying to brainstorm new marketing slogans, you turn that dial way up. You want creative, unexpected, even slightly weird ideas. It's a super simple way to match the tool to the job.
Now, this is a heavy one, but it's crucial. Bias. Remember how we said the AI learns from all the text on the internet? Well, what's on the internet? A whole lot of human bias. So if the training data is full of stereotypes or skewed viewpoints, the AI is going to learn those patterns and spit them right back out. It's basically a mirror reflecting the data it was trained on, warts and all. So you always have to keep a critical eye on its output for fairness.
This image really says it all. What we're doing here, what prompt engineering is all about, is building this bridge. A bridge between what we want in our heads, our human intent, and what this incredible machine is capable of doing. It's a brand new kind of partnership, and we're just learning how to be the better partner. All right, we've got the basics, we understand the controls. Now it's time to level up with some pro-level prompting techniques.
And don't worry, these aren't super complicated. They're actually simple strategies that will get you way better results.
Let's talk about zero-shot versus few-shot prompting. Zero-shot is probably what you do now. You just ask the AI to do something cold. Summarize this article. You're giving it 0 examples. But few-shot prompting, that's the game changer. That's where you give the AI a couple of examples first, you show it, here's the input, and here's the kind of output I want. You're teaching it the pattern on the fly, and for anything complex, the results are just so much better.
Okay, let's get serious for our final section. For anyone using this stuff for work, this is non-negotiable. We're talking about the language of privacy. Because if we're not careful, all this powerful tech can create some major problems. We have to protect our companies and our clients' sensitive information.
First term you have to know here is PII. It stands for Personally Identifiable Information, and it's exactly what it sounds like. Any piece of data that can be traced back to a specific person. Think names, email addresses, phone numbers, account numbers. If it can identify an individual, it's PII, and you need to protect it like gold.
So why are we hammering this home? Because of this. Every prompt sent to an AI system can be stored, analyzed, and used for model improvement. Let that sink in. Anything you type into that chat box, it doesn't just vanish. It can be saved. It can be reviewed. So if you paste a customer's private data or your company's secret strategy into a public prompt, you're essentially handing it over. This is not a maybe, it's how these systems are designed to work.
So what in the world do we do about it? Are we just supposed to avoid using AI for real work? No, of course not. The answer is data masking and anonymization. It's a super simple but incredibly effective idea. All you do is swap out the real sensitive data for fake generic placeholders before it ever touches the AI. And here's exactly what that looks like in practice. Instead of typing in Susan Martinez at acmecorp.com, you just type client name at email address. Instead of saying it's a $2.4 million contract, you write dollar amount contract. You see? The AI gets all the structure and context it needs to do the job, but absolutely none of the real private information ever leaves your computer.
Now, there's a related idea here called tokenization, specifically in the context of privacy. This is just about being consistent with your placeholders. So if you're talking about 2 different competitors in a long chat, you wouldn't just say competitor over and over. You'd call one competitor A and the other competitor B. It's a simple trick that helps the AI keep track of who's who, all while keeping the real names completely secret.
So, there you have it. We've covered the fundamentals, the controls, the pro techniques, and most importantly, the critical language of privacy. We've given you the vocabulary. So the real question isn't for me, it's for you. You have the tools. How are you going to use them to protect your data and get amazing results at the same time?